Alright guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be counting down some interesting exploits from World of Warcraft's history. These are mostly the exploits and glitches that I personally remember from my time playing WoW, so if you know of anything different and interesting that I've not mentioned in the video, then leave your comments below and I'll likely be able to make a second episode with your suggestions. Some of these exploits have been used to progress your character insanely fast, cheat your way to get better PvP rating, and then others are a little more on the light-hearted fun side. And to be honest, a lot of them I've actually used and taken advantage of myself. Just before we jump in guys, apparently still only 17% of the people who watch my videos are actually, subscribed to the channel, and I think it's because a lot of people do actually forget to subscribe to channels. I'm a little bit guilty of doing that myself. But, if you like my content, if you want to see more content like this, then obviously when you sub you will see more content, it's more likely to appear, and it definitely really helps out my YouTube channel and obviously other YouTube channels out there as well. But anyway, so the first exploit we're going to talk about was an experience exploit that I actually personally used to get from level 30 to level 80 under 2 hours playtime. This exploit existed during the Warlords of Draenor expansion, where for some reason there was a strange bug that allowed you to enter the Ruby Sanctum raid at any level, and once inside a raid you would gain an immense amount of experience per every single mob kill. So the idea would be to get your level 100 friend to go inside the raid with you stood at the entrance, round up all the mobs, kill them all, and you could maximise the amount of experience you gained by using a bind to account experience potion that dropped from a rare called Crawl the Blade in the Dread Wastes. I also combined this with the monk experience buff. The only catch would be that obviously the instance lock out restriction, you could only farm this method for about 15 minutes per hour, but you could very easily log out your toon and you would keep all the experience buffs and then just log in and out throughout the day and very easily get to, like I said, level 80 in under a couple of hours. So it was pretty ridiculous. For number 2 we have a PvP exploit that existed in the Battle for Gilnea's battleground, exclusively available to Death Knights. The idea was that you could death grip people into the fireplace within one of the buildings near the waterworks flag point. All you would have to do is position yourself perfectly near the fireplace, like you can see in the footage, cast death grip on the enemy player and they would get stuck in the fireplace. Furthermore, I've heard of people using this method by placing their pet to attack the guy stuck in the fireplace and then using mass grip on the pet to grip even more people within the fireplace. But what was worse about this exploit is you can actually use it in rated battlegrounds, and admittedly back in the day, as you can see from the background footage I'm showing you, I did do this quite a lot. I would tell people to bait players further back so that they were in range of the little doorway where the fireplace is, so I can just very quickly grip them into the fireplace. Even just managing to get one player stuck in the fireplace would give you a massive advantage in a 9v9 team fight, which is what it normally is in the Battle for Gilneas, and it pretty much almost guaranteed you a win. I use this method a lot, and I made a lot of people angry. I would even get people adding me on Real ID just to flame me and tell me how they're going to mass report me, and you know what, I never actually got banned for doing this, even though despite I did it that much. And the exploit wasn't actually hotfixed for about over a year. We actually had to wait for Warlords of Draenor to come out for them to actually fix the exploit, and I wasn't the only one doing this. Like, a lot of people were doing this because I discovered it through someone doing it to me, and none of us got banned for doing this. It was crazy. Back in Mists of Pandaria there was another PvP glitch that allowed low level players to obtain high level talents. So for example, a level 15 warrior could get talents like Bladestorm or Dragon's Roar and easily just one-shot people. The exploit was accidentally discovered by an add-on called Easy Talent that would swap out your talent automatically whenever you entered an arena battle, battleground or a raid for example. So a script essentially wasn't working correctly because people could manually then use a scripting macro to learn the higher level talents. And as you can see from the footage from a very old FireAz video, there have been, they were very easily one-shotting people and camping them on their graveyard. Next we have an old but gold exploit highlighted by Swifty, although it is more of a glitch to be honest, that allowed you to change your race for free whenever you wanted by using a simple login trick. First of all, you create a character of the race you wanted to change, then log him in, skip the movie cutscene and then log back out. Then you would select your main character, but hover your mouse over the character of the race you wanted to change into, and then click left mouse and enter very quickly, almost simultaneously, and once you're logged into the game it would glitch you into that different race, and the morph would stick around onto your character until you actually logged out. Back in Warlords of Draenor they added a new secondary stat which was later removed called Multistrike, and there was a glitch where a mage could get a permanent 100% Multistrike buff with a clever glyph trick. There was a glyph that increased your Multistrike chance by 30% whenever you used Icy Veins, so you would use the spell with the glyph equipped outside of combat, then use the glyph and quickly go, then remove the glyph from your glyph bar and quickly go into combat with like an Ice Lance ability or something like that, and then voila, you gain the permanent 30% Multistrike buff, and you could use this method repeatedly until you got a total of 100%. Our next exploit is more of a stupid one, to be honest. There was once a crazy macro in the game that actually allowed you to totally disconnect a 40-player raid group. It did this by doing multiple player swaps within the raid group extremely quickly. I think it would move about 40 members around in the raid group frames in a single button press. And then if you click this extremely fast, or with a third-party software macro, you know, like the Razer Synapse macro or Corsair, Logitech or whatever, it would send so many messages in the game that it would disconnect all of the members of the raid, including yourself, because it's simply too much information for the actual game client to actually deal with. And I actually did this once and was very surprised that it actually worked. Again, didn't even get banned for it. You know, I joined an Alterac Valley battleground. I asked for the battleground leader to promote me to the battleground leader, and then I used a macro and just disconnected everyone, and everyone was very angry, and I didn't get banned for some reason. On the Timeless Isle, which was a max level PvE and PvP fun content zone released in the last patch of Mr. Pandaria, there was an interesting mob on the southeast coast of the island called a Gulp Frog that rather uniquely had an instant spawn timer, which, as you can probably imagine, is a huge red flag in the context of exploits. Many people use these mobs for a number of different exploits. First of all, people were leveling their ult by getting a warlock to summon their low level character to the island, easily getting from level 1 to 60 in about 10 minutes. People were using it to farm immense amount of gold, and a few people, like a fiend, even used a method to get the world first level 100 achievement when Warlords of Draenor launched. All they had to do was turn in a repeatable quest on the island that involved killing the mobs and getting some kind of meat from the mob, and they would farm it for hours before the expansion launched, and then they turned in the quests like multiple times to get basically level 100 instantaneously, but everyone who did it got totally rolled back to level 90. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any footage of this happening because for some reason Athene's old World of Warcraft channel has like no content on it anymore, but oh well. In the Western Plaguelands post-Cataclysm, when the zones were totally changed, there was a quest to go to Uther Lightbringer's tomb in order to get his blessing. Essentially, the tomb gives you a critical strike buff by 15 points, but what you could do is, if you abandon the quest and accept it again, you can keep repeating the process to get the buff infinitely, and obviously the buff actually stacked on top of each other. This meant if you kept doing the process fast enough, you could easily get to up to 100% crit rating, which was obviously a huge advantage in PvP and questing. But you had to be careful, because the catch was obviously if you died you would lose the buff. During the first patch of the Warlords of Draenor expansion, there was a looking for raid bug where you could keep looting the first boss of High Maul, Kargath Bladefist, infinitely. All you'd have to do is join the raid like normal, except don't do anything except target your own character, don't deal any damage on the trash, don't deal any damage on the boss, don't even heal, don't buff anyone, and then once the boss had been killed, you would leave the party, and any loot that you could have possibly obtained by looting the boss will be sent to you in the mail. And you can do this trick as many times as you want to get an infinite amount of loot, and people mainly use this trick to keep disenchanting the epic loot to make immense amount of gold, and a lot of people did get banned for doing this method. And lastly, we have an AFK farming method for the Lovers in the Air world event currency, the Love Token. With the Lovely Charm Collector's Kit in your bag, you can loot love tokens from the mobs that you kill, and in the Skeleton Monastery Heroic Dungeon there was a method where you can kill mobs while AFK. What you would do is clear the first room, deal little damage to every single corpse pile to get the aggro from the pile, which cause zombies to infinitely spawn and automatically attack you. Then with a permanent pet, such as a hunter pet or a death knight pet, you can put the pet on defensive mode and the pet will just kill the mobs for you while you're AFK, and basically the bug was the fact that you would still get kill credit and keep infinitely looting love tokens as many times as you want, up to about 900 per hour. So obviously with this method you could easily get all of the cosmetic rewards from the world event vendor. But anyway guys, that is the end of the video. My name is MetaGoblin. To my next video, ciao.